Hello and welcome to my channel, I Win to Lose Gaming. Today, we are here to take a look at Silver Soldier Anby, or Anby, or Sanby for short, who is the upcoming S-rank agent in Zenless Zone Zero. So first of all, as always, we can take a look at some of her overworld animations. We can see here that she can indeed walk. She has 2 legs, 2 arms to assist her with doing such activities. And we even have these very conveniently placed stairs where she can go up. Impeccable physics when it comes to her scarf. You can really see they put a lot of effort into this thing. Waving back and forth. This video was filmed on the early access server and is not indicative of the final product. There may be some changes on release, so be sure to check the comments down below to see if there are any. Anby, in case you don't already know, is a character in Zenless Zone Zero, and they've upgraded her from an A rank agent to an S rank agent. Now, in terms of her glow up, I mean, let's be real, it's quite a stark contrast between the two just by changing an outfit. Like, I would have never guessed that this is where all of the hamburgers that Anby eats goes, because she did not seem to, appear. Yeah, I don't really have the words for it, but yeah, basically here are her menu animations. We can see that she looks great. So let's talk a little bit about Silver Soldier Anby. She is an electric attack agent with attack scaling as well as crit rate and crit damage focus in her build. And she's a really interesting character that brings some new mechanics to the game, which, we're going to explore shortly. Now, starting off, she's going to be using the new 4-piece drive set, the Shadow Harmony, which increases aftershocks and dash damage, as well as, blah, 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 basically giving you some mega attack as well as some crit rate, 12% of each, depending on how you hit enemy with aftershock or dash damage. 2-piece Woodpecker Electro with crit damage, electric damage, as well as attack percent. One more thing for those that are curious, here's what she looks like with and without her signature Wenjin. We can see that her hair is much glowier, and her scarf is also equally much glowier with her signature Wenjin. So starting off, what makes Sanby? Well, first of all, she just, obviously has a bunch of normal attacks that do stuff, and we can actually see here this new mark on the enemy, and this is called the Silver Star Mark. And for each 1/3 of the Silver Star Mark that you fill up, you will get one of these prongs. With each prong, you can do a regular special where she will quickly dash through and deal an instance of, you can see there, 27,000 damage. If we fill up the entire Silver Star Mark, we can do this 3 times, which leads to a very good amount of damage. And this damage is known as Aftershock. So basically what's going on is that she's able to output a bunch of these, as well as this additional multiplier when she does 3 in a row on the enemy very quickly when she fills up this Silver Star. So we can see we filled up the Silver Star, and we use 3 specials, and we can see that additional extra lightning shock come down to smite her enemies, which deals a hefty amount of aftershock damage. In total, this triple skill deals 1639.2% total multiplier, with 261% being regular damage and 1378.2% being aftershock damage. Considering how fast this attack is, this is a lot of DPS during a short time window. And as such, Sanby will do a ton of aftershock damage. Now, a bit about the aftershock damage as a damage type. It is basically a new flag or type of damage that you can do, and it works the exact same as most other damage types in the game, where it scales off of the usual stats like attack, crit, bonus damage, enemy defense, resistance, etc, etc. So knowing that, why is aftershock damage important? It is because of her core skill. Her core skill will not only boost her own damage by 25% against pretty much any enemy that she attacks with a Silver Star Mark on them, but it will also increase aftershock damage by 30% of Silver Soldier's crit damage stat. Now, when another character in her squad is a stun or support character, not only will she get 10% more crit rate, but if Silver Soldier Anby is on field, then all aftershock type damage will deal 25% increased damage. In this clip, we can see that Pulchra's Aftershock damage is dealing 3,278 damage on crit with Sanby's core ability active, whereas without Sanby's core ability, she's doing 2,170 damage. This is a very impressive 51% increase to Pulchra's Aftershock damage thanks to Sanby's core abilities, increased Aftershock crit damage, and 25% bonus damage. Notably, Sanby does need to be on field for her core passive to work, making her a very unique character. So we can clearly see that Silver Soldier Anby is going to be a character that revolves around the new Aftershock damage mechanic, not only boosting her own Aftershock damage substantially, but also boosting teammates' Aftershock damage by a lot. So there's going to be a new archetype of playstyle where Silver Soldier is going to be the on-field driver for. Now the next question is, how do you charge up the Silver Star efficiently? Well, one way is by using her EX special, which you can simply press and hold the special button. This will fully fill up the Silver Star mark. We also have her ultimate, which pretty much does the same thing. It does a lot of ultimate damage, as well as fully filling up the Silver Star mark in order to do the 3 dash attacks through him. Of course, her basics and all this stuff also add the Silver Star mark. And finally, one of the most effective ways for her to charge is to actually do her dodge counter, which charges about half of a Silver Star mark. In 2 dodge counters, you'll be able to fully fill up the Silver Star mark, which means that Sanby will be great against aggressive enemies where you can regularly dodge counters. So she is meant to be, I would say, one of the first attack agents who really wants to stay on field for a long amount of time instead of typically operating in a stun window. But of course, she can also be played like a typical attack agent where you mainly utilize her during a stun window, but we will get into that in a bit.
Fracture.
So I've got a few showcases for you guys, and we're going to be starting off with a free-to-play friendly team with Anby on the Starlight engine, as well as Pulchra, who we're all going to get for free and who's likely going to be on Sanby's banner, which means that you're probably going to get her as well as some copies of her. Pulchra in this case is, I believe, at Mindscape 2. Lucy is at Mindscape 6, and Lucy's using Kaboom the cannon at upgrade 5. Pulchra's using her signature engine, the box cutter, at upgrade 1, if I remember correctly. So anyway, we can see right off the bat that you can actually see a lot of physical numbers, both from the boars as well as Pulchra's follow-up attacks or Aftershock damage attacks. And in a way, this is kind of the playstyle that one might expect for a Silver Soldier Anby team, which is she's going to be on field driving other Aftershock characters, and you can see Lucy completely whiff the baseball there. I absolutely love it when that happens. I'm being sarcastic. I don't love it when that happens. But anyway, so we can see that Pulchra is able to, use her EX special, do whatever she does to fill up those little teeth icons near her portrait in order for her to be off field and perform her Aftershock damage. And you guys can probably check out the Pulchra video that I'm likely going to be releasing as well that goes over that. But yeah, this is a free-to-play friendly setup, of course. Now, Anby's role, or Sanby's role in this team, is to stay on field and to drive, essentially, Pulchra's abilities. And, well, Sanby, though, of course, is going to be doing the majority of the damage by a long stretch. Pulchra will still help out by increasing days, while Anby's on field doing decent damage, as well as Pulchra herself increases Aftershock damage and provides quick assists to the previous character for Sanby, which helps Sanby stay on field for even longer. So thanks to all these factors, Sanby is definitely designed to be an on-field attack agent instead of kind of what we've been previously used to, which is an on-field stun agent where you stun the enemy and then you go for the big wombo combo while the enemy is stunned with the attack agent. So this next team is using Sanby's signature engine, which definitely helps her out a lot. There's no other way to put it, but I wanted to actually showcase this with another archetype, which is Sanby in a stun focused team. So in this case, we actually have Anby, who is using her own signature weapon, and we have Nicole as well. So we have the Cunning Hairs reunited, except we are using 2 Anbys on the same team, which is pretty funny. I want to see what the game actually does to handle this. Like, does Anby say something to Anby to tag her in, because you know how like characters will say something to each other when they tag in. But yeah, since you can use the same character essentially twice on the same team. But okay, look at this big damage with her signature Wenjin in a stun window. And I think Nicole's buff wore off, but with Nicole's buff as well, it's just doing tons and tons of damage, able to rotate the first form of the robot. Of course, the first form of the robot is a bit squishier than the second form. But anyway, we're going to fast forward through here, through Anby's stun window here. And yeah, that's kind of the bottleneck for this team. But you can also go for a double chain combo if you want, but in this case I didn't. And we're going for big damage with this, and we're just going to go ahead and stack some buffs with Nicole. But yeah, we can see here that of course Anby can be played in a traditional attack style team where you dump her resources during an enemy's stun window. Although I will say that I don't really think this is going to be like ultimately her best playstyle, but at the very least it is very functional, kind of similar to Harumasa in a way, where you can definitely play Harumasa in that similar style. Now this next team is likely going to be one of Anby's better teams, at least on Anby's release, and personally I expect this to change substantially as we get more characters with aftershock damage. We can see here that we have Caesar as well as Astra. Everyone is at M0 but with their U1 engines, and we can see, forget stunning the enemy, just catapult Anby's own personal damage to take out the robot way before it can even be stunned here. And just the damage buffs that obviously Astra Yao as well as Caesar provide are just so high, where why bother even going for the stun? I mean, you can see we just keep filling it up, filling up the silver star mark, as well as keep damaging the enemy. And forget about dodging and stuff, because I suck at this game. So yeah, here we go. This team finished this robot off way faster than the other two teams, and it's no surprise, even though this is not, I would describe as an optimal team for Anby, obviously with how universal Astra Yao is, as well as how universal Caesar is, they're going to be able to catapult Anby's damage regardless. So to be completely honest, now I didn't do any like side-by-side comparisons with Harumasa, but as of Anby's release, so like right when she comes out, she doesn't really have the perfect team for her. So Anby is definitely a character who, if you do pull for, you should really plan to invest horizontally into her team. So what I mean by this is to invest into other potential upcoming characters that are focused on aftershock damage. For example, perhaps Trigger, who happens to be in the same squad, who also happens to be coming very soon. Even though we don't have that many official details on Trigger and what she does, I'm willing to bet some money on the fact that she's going to be a decent teammate for Anby. But regardless, even if it's not Trigger, there's very likely going to be other characters who focus on aftershock damage. And well, Anby happens to have passives that enhance aftershock damage while she's on field, so she is meant to be the on-field driver for aftershock playstyle. Now, if you don't plan to invest horizontally into Anby, you see that she does do well with like Caesar and Astra Yao, but in my opinion, everyone has Harumasa who can play in that type of archetype reasonably well. Although I guess not, Harumasa either prefers stun or anomaly, so I kind of take that back. But of course, most attack agents will do incredibly well with Caesar and Astra Yao, and what's likely going to push Anby over the limit is going to be other aftershock related 5-star or S-rank agents. So again, personally, I recommend you to plan ahead when it comes to Anby and to prepare to invest horizontally into her team. Of course, her own signature Wenjin is very good as well, but yeah, that's just my take on Anby. As of release, she's a decent character and she'll fulfill your electric DPS needs, but I believe she has the potential to be much stronger in the future as we get more aftershock related characters. Let me know what you think about Anby down in the comments below, and let me know if you plan to pull for her as well as potential future characters that might work for her. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. This is I Want to Lose, signing out.